10 o'clock. I hope you are ready. Please get your day is geometry of straight lines. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the topic, but for introduction, okay, let's read out our objectives for the day. So our objective number 1 is define a straight line. Objective number 2, identify and construct perpendicular lines. Objective number 3 is finding unknown values of angles on straight line. Objective number 4, measure angles using a protractor. So I hope you guys have your protractors, because we'll be measuring using our protractor, and basically it's our lesson for today. So are you guys all here? Do you have your pens? Do you have everything? Are you ready? Please bring your mind here. We'll try to make this as fun as possible. Right, guys? Welcome. I'm glad you're here and you're joining us for this amazing lesson here, because we'll have fun, right? Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. So let's define a straight line. So a straight line, guys, sums up to 180 degrees. When you, I hope you have your protectors with you, because in your protectors there, you can see that in the end or at the beginning, you can see it's written 180. So that's our straight line. It's sum of 180 degrees, but don't worry. Don't panic if you don't understand. You will by the end of this lesson. So it sums up to 180 degrees. The size of angles that are formed on straight line is 180 degrees. So the sizes of the angles that are formed on a straight line is 180 degrees. What does that mean? It means that you have your line, you'll have your straight line, and on top of your straight line or below your straight line, you will have angles. Those angles must sum to 180 degrees. Those angles must not sum to 90 degrees or 70 degrees. So it must be 180 degrees, right? I hope you do understand. And let me read something for you guys here before we can actually do our drawings and everything. An angle formed by a straight line is 180 degrees. Therefore, the sum of the angle on a straight line is also 180 degrees. We say two or more angles are supplementary if they add up to 180 degrees, right? Okay, so again, today we'll be talking about perpendicular lines, and tomorrow that's when we'll move on to vertically opposite angles. But for today, we are only doing perpendicular lines, right? Okay, let's move on to the next one. So the next one is perpendicular lines. What is perpendicular lines? What are perpendicular lines? Maybe that's the question you are asking yourself right now. So what are perpendicular lines? Perpendicular lines are two lines that joins each other and they form a right angle. Basically, when you think about a perpendicular line, what must come to your mind is 100, not 100. What must come to your mind is 90 degrees and right angles. When you think about perpendicular line, those are the things that must come to your mind, right? So let's read it says, when two lines are perpendicular, their adjacent supplementary angles are equal to 90 degrees. So when you join those lines, those two lines, you will have a right angle. They will form a right angle, which is 90 degrees. Two lines or line segments are perpendicular to one another if they meet at a right angle. But I will show you. Don't worry. Right now, I'm just explaining. I will show you as soon as I'm done with the explanations. We shall use square to indicate that two lines are perpendicular. So that means that a square, a small square, you will see it and you probably know about it. A small square basically indicates 90 degrees. So here they say we will use a square to indicate that two lines are perpendicular. Those two lines are forming a right angles. Those two lines are 90 degrees. Right, guys? Okay, if I'm moving too fast, please, you can write there on the chats. You can tell me and I can be a bit slower because we still have a lot of time. Okay, so if line segment, yes, Naidu, this is grade 8. So that's about it about perpendicular lines, but let me guys show you a demonstration before we do our class activities. And those who are just joining us, guys, can you please get your protractors because we'll be using it, or if you don't have it, can you please set your mind here? Welcome. I'm so happy to see you guys. I'm so happy to be doing this amazing subject with you guys. Any questions before we demonstrate? But by the way, guys, you can say your questions now, and please, I will answer the questions at the end of the lesson if we still do have time, right? So guys, here I'll be showing you, I hope you can see clearly. I'll be showing you how to construct a perpendicular line, how perpendicular lines look like, right? So perpendicular lines, we said that it represents what? 90 degrees, and it also represents what? Right angle. So that must come to your mind when you think about perpendicular lines, right? Okay, so before we even go, at the beginning of the lesson, I told you guys that a straight line sums to 180 degrees. Okay, let me read it again for you guys. The sum of the angle on a straight line is also 180 degrees. An angle formed by a straight line or line segment is 180 degrees. So basically a straight line, if you think of a straight line, if you hear about a straight line, what must come to your mind? 180 degrees, right? So let's get into it. Are we all here? Can you see properly? I hope so. Okay, so now I'm making my straight line. We can see here, okay, let me familiarize guys with you with this protractor. Ne? So we can see from here, it's 0, 0 to blah, 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 to 180 degrees. And what is that? It represents half a cycle, right? And what is a full cycle? What is the degree of a full cycle? The degree of a full cycle, basically, it's this 180 plus another 180, which makes it what? 360. That's a full cycle. This is a half cycle. This represents a half cycle, right, guys? Are we all here? Are we all together? So this represents a half cycle. And what did I say about seeing 90 degrees? 90. So here we have our 90. What do you think about when you see this 90 degrees? Yes, you think about a right angle and perpendicular lines, right? Because that's something we'll be doing right now. And again, the gaps here, like we can see the gaps here, they differ by 10 degrees. They differ by 10. And here is 180 and here is 0. But on the smaller side, it's 100 and 0. So it's basically the same. You don't have to be confused about this two numbers, this one here and this one here. Ne? For those who are joining again, thank you so much. Please stay at the end of the lesson. You're going to have so much fun. You're going to learn so much. So I hope, guys, we are now familiar with this protractor. And from here to here, it's 180 degrees. From here to here, it's 180 degrees. So let's form our perpendicular lines, right? Okay, but perpendicular lines starts with straight line before it can be perpendicular lines, right? Before it forms a 90 degrees, before it forms a right angle, it's not perpendicular lines as yet, right? I hope you understand that part. So let's have here, let's have our straight line. Let's have our straight line. Let me try to make it thick so that you guys can see. Guys, can you see it, right? Yes, you can. Yep. Okay, so this is our straight line. It sums to what? 180 degrees. From here to here, it's what? 180 degrees. Right? So this is our straight line. It sums to 180 degrees. degrees. So here we are making our perpendicular lines. We are forming our right angle. So when we form our right angle, we'll start here. This is the first example I'm doing. I'm going to do two more examples. So we'll have, we must point it here to 90 degrees. You can see it starts from here to there. So we must point it here to our 90 degrees because our perpendicular line is what? Okay, let me put it down. Hello, Smith. Please write your questions down below on the chat, please. Let me do this. Guys, can you see now? Because some of you guys are saying you can't see properly. Can you see now? How is it now? So guys, is it right like this? Guys, is it right like this? Is it better? Okay, so now it's better, right? But you can see everything. But it had a good angle on the other side. But anyway, it's fine. It's fine. Let's just finish up. All right. Okay, so this is our, so we are making perpendicular lines, right, guys? We are still here. So we must see here, because from here to here, it's 180 degrees, right? So we must say, we must point our line so that it will make 90 degrees. So we'll point it right here. You see? Right here. Let me put it down again. Yes. And when it is like this, then we can say it is perpendicular lines. Because why? Because now we can form this small square here, which represents what? It represents 90 degrees. So guys, please tell me, ne? How many right angles do we have? Because I only gave you this one. We can say here A, B, can see here. So how many right angles do we have? Yay! Yes, we have 2 right angles. This side and this side. Yay, 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 yay. We are getting there. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Okay, so this is our first example. So when we add this totals, we'll actually get 180 degrees, and it must always be like that. This is our angles. This is the first angle, and this is the second angle. So when we add those 2 angles, it must sum up to 180 degrees. It must not be below or above. It must all the time be 180 degrees, right? I hope we are on the right place. So when we say 90 degrees plus 90 degrees, how much does it give you? Yes, it gives you 180 degrees, right? Yes. Okay, let's move on to the second example, number 2. Number 2, so let's do our second example. So in our second example, it's a must, right? We must draw our straight line. Here is our straight line. Let me make it a bit thicker. So this is our straight line, right? So this is our second example, and our straight line represents what? It represents 180 degrees, right, guys? Okay, so let's make another line. Let's point again. So here is our 90 degrees. Can you see that? Until here. So here is our 90 degrees. We are forming what? We are forming perpendicular lines. But for now, this is our straight line, which sums to what? 180 degrees. So let's create our perpendicular line. So we can say, this is our second example, guys. For those who are new, we are forming perpendicular lines here. Okay. So we can say this A side is A, B, C, and D. Okay. So how many right angles do you see at this point? Can you please just chat there and tell me how many right angles do you see at this point? Yes, yes, yes. You guys are so smart. Right now we have 4 right angles, and those 4 right angles represents what? A full circle. And so this is our right angles, the first one, the second one, the third one, and the fourth one, right? And they represent how much? They represent 90 degrees this side, 90 degrees this side, and 90 degrees this side, and another 90 degrees this side. Yes, and the circle represents what? 360. So let's add up so that we can be accurate. Now, guys, so let's add up these angles and have the total sum of all these angles. And it must be 360 because why? Because it's a full cycle. It can't be less than that because it's a full cycle. Do we guys we understand? So we have our 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus 90. Can you please add those and tell me how much do you get? Yes. We have 360 degrees. Yes. So our answer is 360 degrees. Yes, we are getting there. Good start. Yes. So let's move on to our last example before we can actually go to other activities that we need to do. So our last example, beginning with our straight line, but this time our straight line is half. Ne? It's half, which is 90 degrees, guys. And then we'll form another one here. This is our third example. So let me just make this line. So this is our third example, guys, right? So here, how many right angles do we see? Okay, I'll be a bit slower. Sorry about that. Yes, here there's only one right angle, not two, not three, not four, only one. So where's our right angle? It is represented with this box here, which is our square, right? So we'll have our 90 degrees here. So this is our only right angle. We can say this is B, C, A, B, C. So when they ask you that where is the right angle, you can just say which side represents the right angle. You can just say A, B, C. Your answer will be A, B, C equals to what? Our right angle. Guys, are we fine? Are we still fine? Are we still getting there? Yes, this is term 2 work, week 6, by the way. Right, guys? I hope we are still on the right place. So let's go back to our examples before we move on to another example. So we had our first example here. Can you see it? Do you still remember it? This is our first example. This is our second example. And this is our third example. This is as simple as that. Perpendicular lines represent right angles 90 degrees. If you construct the angles, this is what you do. Right, guys? Let me read the definition again. Perpendicular lines are pair or two lines that form a right angle. But guys, on my slides, I left some websites where you can go and actually learn more about this. Okay? So this is our second question. Oh my goodness. So our second question says, construct a right angle using this following straight lines. So in this case, we have, oh my goodness. So here we have this line. You see this line. We must construct a right angle using this line. How do we do that? Do we put it here and make a straight line here? Is it a yes or a no? Do we put it here and make a straight line here? If we put a straight line here, then it's not a right angle, guys. Yes, the answer is no. Yes. Do we put it like this? And the answer is no. We don't put it like that. Okay, do we put it like this then? Yes, 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 yes. You guys are so smart. We put it like this. Yes. And then we'll have our straight line here, which sums to 180 degrees. Yes, we put it like this. And when we have something like this, we'll have how many? 4 right angles. This is the first one, second one, third one, and the fourth one. right? We can say this is A, B, C, and D. This is our 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees. Yes, yes, I do. It also represents, it's a full circle, which is what? 360 degrees. When we add 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus 90. Well done, guys. Are we getting it? Thank you so much. Let's move on to this last question. So where do we put our line this time? So if lines are formed here and they actually make the right angle, those lines, we call them perpendicular lines. Those two lines, this line, which we can say it's from A to D, and then from C to B, those two lines form perpendicular lines. Those are our two lines, right? You remember I read you the definition that says two lines that forms a right angle. So here are our two lines. This one from A to D and from B to C, right? Yes, so let's move on to the example here. So this example here, so do we put our line here? Do we just put it here and we'll have our right angle? Is it a yes or a no? So the answer is no, we don't put it here. So in this case, we'll put our straight line here. Are we putting it like this? Yes, yes, most definitely. Put it like this. Don't forget your 90 degrees, everyone. Don't forget this. And then we'll start from here, going down to this 90-degree point. So even here, we'll have our four right angles. We can say this is E, F, G, H, right? So I hope you guys are still getting here on track. You are still on track. Everything is fine. Everything is good, right, guys? Okay. So this is our last example, and this represents what? Not a half cycle, but what? This represents a full cycle, and it sums to 360 degrees again. Thank you so much. Yes, yes. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So here, guys, we are going to use our protractor to measure the sizes of all angles in each figure below. Which are those figures? This figure right here and this one right here. So we'll start with this one, right? So I've already written the angles, but one thing we must do here, we must determine the sizes of A, B, and C, right? So how do we do that? I told you that the difference here in our protractor is 10, right? So let's put our protractor here. So we must now determine the size of A. We'll start with A. We'll determine the size of what? Of A. And we'll write it down here, right? Okay, so let's put our protractor here. In your question papers, guys, they will draw this for you, and what you need to do is just to measure the sizes. You will see the questions. You will just have to measure the sizes and be as accurate as possible, right? Okay. So here's our protractor here. Let's start. We are measuring what? We are starting with A. So we'll start from here then. 0. Where's our A? Here's our A. It ends here, from here to here. A starts from here and it ends where? Here. This is our angle, our first angle. So let's put our protractor here. So here is it. It's here. And what is it? Maybe you can't see properly, but it is 130. 130. Let's see. 130. So our A is 100 and no, it's not 130. Sorry about that, guys. Because we must start here from 0 to here. It's 50. Did you guys see that? It's 50 degrees. Are we all together? Guys, are we all together? Can we see this one? Thank you so much. Okay, let's move on to number B. So our number B starts from here to here. Our number B starts from here to here. And then that's our B angle. So let's measure our second angle. So when we measure our second angle, it starts here, it ends here. So I said the numbers in between is what? It's 10. So we have the first 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So that's what? That's our number B, 80 degrees. Right? Okay, let's move on to the third angle. The third angle. Can we see it? Can we see it? Okay, so our third angle starts here to here. This is our third angle, right? So let's start to measure. So I told you the difference here is what? It's 10. So let's begin. So it's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. You can see here our angle is here. So it's what? It's 50 degrees. So when you want to verify your answer, you can add all of this and it must give you 180 degrees. Ne? So let's add and see if it does give us 180 degrees. So we have our 50, that's verifying our answer, guys. Ne? 80 plus another 50 degrees, and that's 180 degrees. So guys, are we all here? If I can give you a question where you need to measure the sizes of the angles, will you actually do it? Okay, that's good. That's a positive response I need. Okay, let's move on to our second question here. Let's move on to our second question. So our second question, we are doing the same thing. We are using our protractor to measure the sizes of all the angles in each figure below. This is our second figure below. So from here to this point, definitely it's 90. So let's start with our measuring. So let's determine figure E first before we can go to figure F. Figure E starts from here and it ends here. That's our E angle, right? So let's start measuring our E angle. So it's from here to here, which is 120 because it's from 0 to 120. Can you guys see that? From 0 to 120 degrees, that's our E angle. Right, so we are good, we are done with this one. So let's move on to our F angle. So our F angle starts from here and it ends here. Now guys, so let's put our protractor again and actually see the sizes of this angle. So we start from 0. Okay, here's our 0, 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Can you see that? Maybe it's too dark. Yeah, you can see it now, right? So that's what? 60 degrees. So when we add these angles, they must give you 180, which is 120 degrees plus 60 degrees. So question number 2, they say use your answers to fill in the angles sizes below. Can you see that we've already done that? We must add A plus B plus C from this question, and we must also add number 2, E and F, which is what? From this second example. So let's add, even though we've already verified there in the beginning, but let's do it again. 50 degrees plus 80 degrees plus 50 degrees equals to 180 degrees. So let's go to the second one, which is this one. Figure what? Figure E, angle E and F. So we have our 120 degrees plus 60 degrees, which adds up to 180 degrees. So we are done with this example. Let's go to our class activity, guys. I'll give you 5 minutes to answer the questions, or even 2 minutes, guys. Even if you don't finish, it's fine. It's totally fine. Guys, can you see the questions? Can you please answer question number 1? Let me give you 2 minutes. Can you please do that for me so that we can see it? Okay. Is it fine now? Let's answer question number 1. They say work out the sizes of the unknown angles below. Build an equation each time as you solve these geometry problems. Always give a reason for every statement you make. But in this case, can you please just calculate the size of A? In the next 2 minutes, I will write the solutions. Can you please do that for 2 minutes, and then I will write the solutions for you guys. The class, we have 15 minutes left. Okay, 1 minute remaining before I can give you guys the solution. And you can just write your answers. You can just type your answers and say them, please, so that I can see what you got. Determine the sizes, calculate the size of A. Please, can you please do that? Don't forget the straight line. You can see your 63 and you know a straight line sums up to what? 180 degrees. Write the equation, even if, because I won't be able to see equations, but for tomorrow's lesson, you'll be able to give me your homework. So for now, just give me the answer. You don't need a measurement for this one. You don't need it. But that straight line is 180 degrees. The straight line is 180 degrees and you don't need a protractor to do this one. Okay, guys, I think we can move on to the second questions. And then when I make the solutions, I can do number 1 and number 2 instead of only doing number 1. So let's answer number 2 because I see some of you guys are already done with number 1. So let's do our number 2. Here's number 2. Can you please also complete number 2 so we can make our corrections from number 2 and number 1. Okay, at 10:41, I will make our corrections. So number 2, calculate the size of X. We know the box, right? You know the box. You don't need a protractor to answer these questions, guys, please. That box, that square, we know it represents what? It represents right angle, but I won't give you the number, but just know it represents right angle, and you know right angle is what degrees. So can you please find the value for our X? Okay, 1 minute left before I can make my corrections. So we have our number 1. And number 1, we had X and 63, right? We had our, not X, we had A, sorry. We had A plus 63 degrees equals to, here is the equation for our number 1. And most of you guys got it right. Well done. So this is our equation. So we will say, this is our step number 1. And then for our step number 2, we'll move this to this side and we'll have our A equals to 180 degrees minus 63 degrees, and our A is 117 degrees. Most of you got it right. Well done, guys. And number 2, our equation is x plus 29 plus 90 degrees, because that box there, that square represents 90 degrees. When you see it, just think of 90 degrees. That's it. So equals to 180 degrees. This is our equation for question number 2, solving for x. And then we'll have our x equals to this is blurry. Is it fine? Can you see now? Our answer is 61 degrees. So guys, almost the end of our lesson, but I will save, okay, please, you can see this. I will save the lesson because we had a lot of questions to do, but then the time is just on our side. Or do you guys mind if we can do 5 more extra minutes? Let me give you a few questions before I leave. Can you please do this one question before I leave? We have, our time is up. Can you please do number 3, and then we can correct it, and then I will upload the video and you can also see your home activity. Can you please do it? Let's do it within 2 minutes, guys. Okay, guys, here is our answer for the 3rd question. You can copy it as fast as you can. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me. You guys are just the best. You are so smart. And yeah, thank you so much. I will give you your homework. I will upload your homework. You will get the questions, and tomorrow we'll have our corrections before we can proceed with our new content. Right? Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Please don't forget to join us again tomorrow and follow our social media links. Please don't forget. Tomorrow at 10 o'clock again, 10 o'clock straight, not 10 past 10, but 10 o'clock straight. I will start the lesson. Thank you so much. Let me share your homework here, and you can copy the questions as fast as you can if you don't mind, or I will still share the document though, don't worry. Here's your home activity. Let me zoom it for you guys. Maybe you can answer the questions and we can get, yes, you can screenshot. Please do that. By 10:50, our lesson will end. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for joining Africa 10 Geeks, and you are welcome to come back again tomorrow, 10 o'clock. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.